I'd like to talk about how to find values in Google Analytics. So let's talk about important values to review in Google Analytics. There are a number of values that are important to review in your Google Analytics. The first is visits. That's basically the number of people coming to your website. The next is time on your website. How long do those visitors stay on your site? And then a concept called bounce rate. This is where someone comes to your site, but then immediately leaves it without looking at another page on your site. Some additional values that Google Analytics can show are the sources. These are the places that your visitors to your website come to before coming to your site. There are different values like direct, where they would come directly to your site, but they could come from social media, they could come from other websites, and sources helps you to understand where your visitors are coming from. Page views, these are the actual pages that are viewed on your website. So these are the URLs of the name, the page names that you have. Additional value that's interesting is location. This is related to the different IP addresses that are coming to your site. Most IP addresses do have some information, physical location that comes with those, so you can actually find out some information about countries, if you're in the United States, states, or actual cities. A couple additional values that Google Analytics can show you is the device usage. This could help you understand if you have desktops, tablets, or mobile devices coming. Additionally, you can determine the web browser, and for example, if you can also, depending on desktop or smartphones, the actual screen size. Another additional information is what's called the behavior flow. This is a kind of flow chart like display that shows like the first page, then what page do they branch off to for their second page and third page, or do they actually then leave your site? So for the demonstration about some important values in Google Analytics, we'll go through a number of these in the Google Analytics account interface. The first would be what are called audience information. This will be things like the visitors and bounce rate. Acquisition, this will be more of source. Behavior, different things they actually do on your site. And then in specifics, the location, the whether or not the visitor or the visit is mobile, and then show you what the behavioral flow is. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some different values in our Google Analytics account. First thing we want to do is log in. You can just type in Google Analytics into the search box. And then it'll ask you for your email address. Then it'll ask you to type in your password. And then the main Google Analytics dashboard will open up. The home screen that comes up here first will provide you some information. So we'll just go through that really quickly so you can just see what the dashboard looks like. So we'll have things like users, sessions, bounce rate, session duration, the number of active users. And as we scroll down, we'll see additional information like how'd you acquire your users, traffic channels, source, medium, referrals. You'll see different indications of, like, for example, here it shows the last 7 days, same as the one up there. How many active users, trending over time, how well do you attain your active users. Again, different information about users, time of day, sessions by country, sessions by devices, pages do your visitors visit. Well, one thing to point out quickly is there's not a lot of information here. And that's, again, we are actually using our test business account, the houseservicecompany.com, and there isn't a lot of information there. So in order to make this demonstration better than looking at no information, we're actually going to look at the digitalmarketingextreme.com website so that we'll actually see some more interesting traffic there. Okay. Now we're logged into digitalmarketingextreme.com's Google Analytics account. And now we'll see the dashboard does show a lot more information. Again, these are data points that are existing over a 7-day period. So now again, you'll see a lot more information than we did on our other information. Okay. So in particular, I want to go through some very important values that you want to look at and indirectly show you how the interface works. So Google Analytics data is shown through what they call reports. So we'll see over here on the left side, we got our home, which is where we're at now, some customizations, and reports. So we'll be going through a few of these different areas over here. So the first one we want to look at is actually audience. And then we'll look at the overview. Okay. By default, most of the Google Analytics reports show all users. These are actually called segments. I won't go over what those are in this training, but just so you know that it's 100% of your users are being displayed. You can use segments to reduce that so you can look at different information. So the most important thing also on all reports is the date range. By default, you'll have a different date range here. This one is custom, but it's actually the last 7 days. So we'll just go ahead and do the last 7 days so we can see that information. You can look at it yesterday. You can look at today. Again, it really depends on what you're trying to learn about. But again, default 7 days. Just keep in mind that it is showing a specific date range. Okay, so on this overview screen, we are shown a few very important attributes. The first is what's called users. And again, if you hover over different things, little pop-ups will come up, so it's a way that you can always come back and remember what it is. So what's good to know here, in the last 7 days, we had 61 users of the website. We'll also know that this chart up here is set to users. You could set it to other things, but again, we'll just taking kind of the default configuration. And as you hover your mouse over each one of these points, you can see how the individual numbers show up there. So add all 7 up together, you get 61 users. So the next one is sessions. Sessions are similar to users, but it could include other different things. So usually they're about the same, but again, there is a technical difference between a user and a session. The other interesting information that's listed on this screen is the average duration. This is of the users that show up, how long on average did they state. So in this case, we're seeing that they're on there an average of 10 seconds. Not the greatest, but at least they were on the website. The next information this one shows is bounce rate. Again, this is when someone lands on your website and does not go to another page. And so it tells you how many people bounce away. But there is a big caveat here. For example, if you're talking about your landing page where you've designed it basically to be the page they land on and perform a call to action, they actually may not go to another page. So again, very helpful information here, but again, you need to put it in context. Okay, so those are some of the important values to see here in the audience section. And again, there are many, many other things to look at here on the left side column. But again, just going over some of the important ones. Next area we'll look at is acquisition. And again, we'll look at the overview of that one. Again, all users for the segment, same 7-day date range. This one actually tells you more about the sources, where the users are coming from. So happen to have our users here, but now we get this nice pie chart that shows us the different ones. So what we can see here is that we have some direct traffic. That's where people went directly to your site. A category called other, which again, not very helpful. Social, so these would be social media networks, and organic search. In this case, Google or Bing search engine results coming through there. As we scroll down here, we can see from a pie chart, now it's into a bar graph. It shows the users, it shows the bounce rates, the average duration. So again, you're seeing some of those information from the previous audience screen showing up here. Just for curiosity, other has a lot, and of course we don't know what other is, but you'll see many places within the Google Analytics interface where these are clickable links. So I'm going to go ahead and click on other. And it actually opens it up, and I see that the source is something called a Facebook ad. This happens to be a custom thing that I've created, so that's probably why it's coming in as other. Just tells me information coming from my Facebook ad traffic. Additionally, as part of sources, in fact, we'll go back here to other, and we'll click on social this time. This one's actually showing us Facebook. So again, those are direct traffic from Facebook. One interesting one you'll start seeing more and more as you go through the acquisition is what's called source and medium. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And we'll see how things get broken down to something slash something. So in this case, facebook.com/referral. So that tells us the medium is a referral. So as we go through here, we see the source, direct, Facebook ad, m.facebook.com, Google, DuckDuckGo, and l.facebook.com. So these are the sources, and then medium are things like web, referral, organic, referral, direct. They're not sure where they're coming direct, so they don't have that. So you'll see this a lot within your acquisition. So source, again, is where they come from. Medium is the type of traffic that comes in. Okay, another great place to look for important information in your Google Analytics account is in your behavior section and overview. This is actually going to give you some direct information about the website. So the first one that's really helpful is page views. These are literally views of the different web pages on your website. The difference between unique and normal page views is that a page could be looked at more than once. Say somebody has the home page, they click a link to go to your about page, and they come back to your home page. That would be counted as 2 unique views, but actually 3 page views because it went to your home page twice. Again, you're getting the time on page and your bounce rate, similar information, and you start seeing that a lot. But the really useful one here is that we see the actual pages, again, this time ranked by the number of page views. You can give us a percentage. So now we see a page called Digital Marketing Guide is one of our most popular pages. The slash, that means the home page, and then some other additional pages are listed here. So again, this is very useful to know what pages are your most popular on your website. So as we wrap up this tutorial, I'd like to go over just a few specific ones, in particular the location. So that's under audience, then it's in geo, and then it is location. And what's helpful about this one is you can actually see, in this case, what country they're coming from. So we'll see that most of our visitors are from the United States, but we're getting a little from Canada. A few are not set. And then we see some additional countries, Australia, United Kingdom, India. You can actually change this from country to city, and you can actually narrow that down to different places like that. So again, this gives you a lot of granular ability to find out who's actually coming to your website. Another one that's interesting, especially if you're trying to determine whether or not you need to emphasize more mobile, is to find out how much is coming. So that would be under audience, and then mobile, and there's an overview here. And then we'll see for our 61 visitors that came, 39 or 63% were desktop, and 21 or 34% were mobile. So this is actually telling us that quite a number of people are using a desktop computer or desktop/laptop to come to our website. So though we don't want to de-emphasize mobile, it is very interesting to see the split, and this could be, again, very dependent upon the type of audience you're going after. And then the final thing is one of the very interesting metrics. You can kind of get an idea of how people use your website. That's actually under behavior and behavior flow. And this graphic actually shows you how people interact with your website. So what you can see is how many people on the landing page. And again, this isn't a landing page. It's just more of a concept. Which page did they first come to your website? So you should see a lot of the slash, which would be your homepage. And then you can see what happens next. Now, in this case, people who come to the home page, 14 of those dropped off. Only one person went forward. And if you actually follow the little squiggly line here, they go next to the coaching page. And then you can follow that through, and they go to an email marketing page. So as you go through the different landing pages, you can actually see where people drop off or bounce. So this is where the bounce rate comes in, or if they continue on to different things. And this again makes it really interesting or really helpful to see how people are flowing through in their behavior of your website. So in conclusion, some of the important values in Google Analytics to look at are audience values. Again, this could be visits or bounce rate. Acquisition, this could be the different sources from which people come to visit your site. Behavior, pages they view, how long they look at the different pages, and many other and different attributes such as location or device type.